So I welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. They told me not to, they gave me a script. They told me not to vary from the script. But I have to tell you, if I don't vary from the script, something's going to happen. So we have a great reception. You have to start with dessert. And there's going to be a reception afterwards over in the Wine Academy. So I know we'll mention that towards the end, but it's just an important part of the whole thank you. So welcome. My name's Brian Sheezer. I'm the Dean for the Hospitality and Service Occupations here at South Seattle College. I'm going to help with emceeing today as we celebrate the grand opening of the Steve and Sharon Huling Automotive Technology Center and honor the Huling family for an amazing support for our college and this program over many years. I also want to thank you for being here. Thank you, please, for being here, everyone, in this incredible learning space for our students and sharing this moment with us. I'd like to take a moment and do the land acknowledgement. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish tribe. Thank you. So this is the fun part. Now, it took a while for the stars to align for this event. There were a few hiccups like the global pandemic, and our students have actually already been learning in the new Auto Center over the course of this academic year. But we're so excited this time to properly celebrate the opening. So our students worked across in the old area for many years while they were waiting for the anticipation of this fabulous building to open up. There were a lot of sneak peeks, there were a lot of walking in, and as things started to come together and the bays started to come together and the lifts started to come in, the excitement really grew. So it is a special place. Okay, so we have a couple storyboards here. If you have a chance, please check them out. And I'm supposed to point to the location. I know, I passed. Here you go. I should have just kept to the reading. So created by the South Seattle College Foundation to highlight the charitable work of Steve and Sharon Huling. And if you did not yet grab a program, please do. They're located at the entrance. If you need to use the restrooms, they're located right through those doors in the back. And we have water on the table there. We'll start today with words of appreciation from members of our campus and the West Seattle community, followed by remarks from Steve and Sharon Huling and a formal recognition of the Huling family. At the end of our formal program, you can either join myself or one of the amazing auto technology instructors for a tour of the facility, or you can head straight over to the Northwest Wine Academy where delicious student-created wines and hors d'oeuvres are patiently awaiting your arrival. So now we're going to get the celebration going. First, I'd like to invite our interim president, Dr. Hernandez, Seattle College's.
Thank you, Brian.
I think it just.
See, it's always good to have people helping you. Thank you, Brian. Well, I'm really excited to see all of you here today, especially both Steve and Sharon Huling. This is such a fantastic day, and it is the Steve and Huling Day today. We'll talk more about that a little bit later in the program, but you may not have realized that today has been proclamated as your day. We'll tell you how that happened. But first of all, what I want to say is how appreciative we are that we get to make today a celebration for the Huling family, for our students, for our campus community, for our Seattle community also, because this is really a very special day in so many ways. I want to acknowledge that both Steve and Sharon were involved with us with the planning, and it does take a village to get a celebration like this off the ground. So I want to also acknowledge some of our employees and staff that have been really instrumental in helping us bring this all together. And before I actually do that, I first want to recognize Dr. Jill Wakefield, who is Chancellor Emeritus of the Seattle Colleges, right here. Jill was my boss, and she taught me everything I know, because when she was president of South Seattle, I was working with her as vice president of instruction. So it's like, Bad Penny keeps showing up again. But what I do want to also acknowledge is that she is just a rock star. So we're really, glad that she was able to come today and be part of this celebration. I also want to take time to acknowledge first Popsumsat, who is the executive assistant to my office. Co can do it without you. Thank you so much. And also Hip Win, who is over our campus operations. Ty Swenson, who is communications at the college. Doug Clapper, one of our tenured faculty here in automotive technology. There he is, right back there. There's Doug. Of course, you've already met Brian Shisher, who's one of our deans over this area, this program. Somebody who's new to our campus, but thank you to Steve Huling for having introduced us, is Joshua Fredrickson, and there's Joshua right there. He is with Lucid Motors and brought these beautiful cars. Of course, one of them out there belongs to the Huling family, so don't take that one, okay? But anyway, we really appreciate it, Joshua. Thank you for doing that. And then also, last but certainly not least, Tona Cow, who is with our district office facilities capital projects. It's right here. And just want to say that we are so glad and thrilled to be able to show off our campus to all of you and hope that you really enjoy this celebration. And I'm going to pass it back to Brian.
Thank you, Dr. Hernandez. So next we have up our interim chancellor for Seattle Colleges, Dr. Rosie Raimondo Charensop.
Thanks, Brian. Good afternoon. My name is Rosie Raimondo Charensop. I serve as the interim chancellor for the Seattle Colleges, and I should say, I've been here at South for 23 years, and most recently served as the president. I had been serving as a president here. Thank you. So South is really my home, and I have really enjoyed many years here growing up in my professional career. I remember first getting to know the automotive programs here and all of our other professional technical programs when I was the head of outreach and would lead tours of prospective students through the college. And the thing that I loved about that job, and I still enjoy about this job to this day, is you bring people in who may or may not have a sense of what it is they wanted to do when they signed up for this tour or when their high school teacher made them get on this bus. They walk through, they see some things, okay, there's a cafeteria, okay, there's a ping pong table at the game room, and then you walk into a space like this, and you just see, for some students, the way their eyes come alive, the way you see them sometimes sit up a little straighter and think, this could be my classroom. It has been such a transformational experience for so many alumni through the years and so many students. And I think we are so lucky here at South and in the Seattle colleges to have a family like the Hulings who saw that potential in us and what we could accomplish together, through partnership work, through shared vision and goals, and really try to change not just an industry and contribute not just to an industry and local businesses, but also to, and not just to a profession, but to individual lives whose families are now forever changed because of the exposure and opportunity that so many folks have had coming through these big garage doors over the years. And so that to me is really exciting because we get to continue that legacy in a much more modernized facility. For those of you who were around and affiliated with South over the years, you might remember the Alice in Wonderland style black and white checkered floors that ran through the back, and the old tool room and things like that. I mean, it's nostalgic now, and we're glad that we've got really modernized equipment facility. I got to climb on the roof of this building once just to see where the solar arrays were going in, just to understand how we're really stepping forward, really thanks to investment and attention and understanding from the Hulings. And so I also want to just speak really briefly about how special it is and how important it is that we've started a lot of really great things across the city here at South. And I think we should continue to take some great credit for that. One of them is that for many years in the Seattle colleges, South is known as, we've always had a profile that really highlighted our professional technical programs, our workforce programs like automotive, heavy duty diesel, welding, and our aviation programs. And through the years, those have remained strong. Sometimes with industry, they've kind of grown and shrunk a little over time, but these are jobs that cannot be exported. These are jobs that right now we're seeing in some fields, they call it the silver tsunami of retirements of folks from other generations who pursued these jobs, and we're needing to bring more folks into these programs. And so it's really important that South continues in this trajectory of strongly investing in our professional technical programs, including these, where people from our community can get their hands on something that really uplifts their own lives. And so that, I think, is exciting. And we do that well here at South, and now that I'm in this district role, I'm part of these conversations in the state and across the city about, well, how are we training the workforce that needs to be here in Seattle, these jobs that we need to have that are a part of the logistics and transportation systems across the city and through our ports, or as part of the West Coast and the role that we play in international trade. And we've got those programs here, and so we're able to be a leader in that. And our automotive program is one of the pieces that helps us play that role for the city. Another thing that I want to point to how the Hulings have been really strong supporters in is another great thing that started here at South is the Promise program. Back in 2008, when the South Seattle Foundation started looking at the 13th year Promise Scholarship, the investment in that the Hulings really saw potential in, and what you saw in what we were trying to start as a very small program started to attract the attention and the investment from others as well. And I think those types of gifts that attract other gifts and other givers is it's movement forming. And I look at where we are today where we stand, we're still the home of the 13th year program. We're still where it all started. Now it eventually gained the attention of the entire city of Seattle, and we're able to serve all students across the city. And it all started here because of investments that the Hulings made, that many other folks made as a part of the South Seattle College Foundation. And so we're sitting here today in this room, surrounded by awesome technology, surrounded in a really modern building, honoring some really awesome people who've been key members of the West Seattle community, of the South family for many years. And we're also a part of something much bigger than all of us here. And I can't help but feel a lot of joy, and I don't mean to overstate it too much, but this is amazing to see you all here to celebrate both a legacy and a trajectory into the future that will keep us at the forefront of what our region needs and what our neighborhoods need. So very much want to say thank you so much. Steve, Sharon, thank you so much for investing in us and keeping this vision alive, through the many years that you've been involved here at South Seattle College. And though I don't sit here every day anymore, I still very much feel like this is home. And so thank you for investing in what I've considered a big part of my own home. Thank you. Brian?
Thank you, Dr. Rosie. My mother used to always say, you can always come home. So next we have Walter Reese. Walter is with the South Seattle College Foundation president, and the South Seattle College Foundation is really our family. Walter, please.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian. Rosie, you stole a lot of my notes here. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Walter Reese. I'm the board president of the South Seattle College Foundation. And it's really an honor to be here today to celebrate the grand opening of the Steve and Sharon Huling Automotive Technology Center. So thank you very much. Having this center here is going to be a game changer for future generations of students who are looking for careers in the automotive industry. So thank you so much. And on behalf of the board, Steve and Sharon, we want to thank you very much for your vision, your significant financial contribution to help make this day possible. It's a fantastic legacy for you, your family, and really a way to honor the splendid work that you've done in the West Seattle and Greater Seattle community. So thank you very much. Long before I joined the foundation, and I've been on the foundation for about 10 years now, Steve and Sharon played a significant role, as Rosie had mentioned, in supporting the South Foundation and the students at South through their ongoing community philanthropy work. If you're not familiar with the South Foundation, let me just share with you our mission. So our mission is really to change lives by providing students with scholarships so that they can pursue a quality academic or vocational education. We do this through relationship building, fundraising, and stewardship of our resources. The foundation began in 1978. They've been a pioneer in student scholarship support. The foundation, through the 13th Year Promise Scholarship, as Rosie had mentioned, began in 2008, provided a year of free tuition to all graduating seniors from 4 local area high schools. And it really became the model for what is currently the Seattle Promise Scholarship, which guarantees 2 years of 2 years of tuition free to any graduating senior from any high school in Seattle to one of the 3 Seattle colleges here. So today, the South Foundation continues its scholarship support and grant awards to the students of South. Those awards each year are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars each year. So simply put, the foundation continues to change lives. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about our foundation, you can visit our website at southseattlecollegefoundation.org. I think there's some flyers around here as well that you might want to take home with you. So anyway, thank you very much for those of you that have been supporting the foundation over these many, many years. The display boards here that were mentioned before, I wanted to thank Patrice Smith, our foundation administrator, for helping put those together. So thank you very much, Patrice. And in closing, I just want to thank Steve and Sharon again and the entire Huling family for your long tradition of support to the students of South Seattle College and the support you've provided to the South Foundation through your generous philanthropy over these many years. So congratulations on the completion and the grand opening of the Steve and Sharon Huling Automotive Technology Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Walter. Next up, we have Todd Ainsworth, and Todd is from West Seattle Auto Works. He's the owner, and he is the chair of our technical advisory committee.
Thank you, everybody. I'm actually the owner of Swedish Automotive, but one-time owner of West Seattle Auto Works as well. So I was sitting there thinking about what it means to have everybody here and the involvement and the passion that everybody has for the school. So I have a deep connection to this school myself. It was the late 80s, and I just started as a professional tech. And I took my apprenticeship classes here at night for 4 years, and some of those classes were in that room right over there. So I'm very familiar with this school, and it had a direct effect on me and my career. And so as my career took off and I became a tech and then later on a business owner, and now I'm a business owner, I got the opportunity to give back and get involved with the schools. So I knew I wanted to come here and be on the advisory council. So being able to work with the instructors and get to know them, Todd and Doug, and see their passion for the industry and how much work they put into it, I knew that it was something that I wanted to help out with. So I've been with you guys for about 10 years now or so, I would say. It's been a lot of fun. And seeing the opportunity now for this new building to come in, it really, really is exciting because our industry, the automotive industry, is in need of good young technicians. We have a shortage, and people putting their time and money into a place like this, it just shows that we support that and that we want this industry to thrive. So I have the deep connection to West Seattle. My family is from West Seattle. My family bought cars from your family. So it goes a long way, and so to see that kind of giving back to our community, I just want to say thank you very much, because this is something desperately needed, because that Alice in Wonderland checkerboard pathway that we were talking about earlier, it looked really the same in 1988 as it did about 5 years ago. So to have this happen is just really, really fantastic, and so I hope to move on to the future with you guys, and hopefully it's only a success from here on out. So, thanks.
Thank you, Todd. Next up, we have Miss Candy Jennings Malloy, Tom's Automotive owner and Technical Advisory Committee member.
They all sound so good. I'm up here sweating to death. It's an honor to be here today for the grand opening for the Steve and Sharon Huling Technology Center. You guys have done so much for the industry over the years. I've sat on the advisory board with you years and years and years ago. As I said, I own Tom's Automotive in the West Seattle Triangle, so we were neighbors for a real long time. When I was asked to speak about the automotive technology program and what it means, I really struggled, because our industry we're desperate right now. And for you to have the foresight to support this program and to do what you've done is amazing. So thank you. Our shop's been involved with the program for as long as I can remember. Tom was an advisory board member, then he handed it over to me, and John, our lead technician that's been with us for 42 years, was on the advisory board as well. And when I think of the program, I'm just grateful. The automotive industry is constantly evolving with new technology and techniques that are emerging at an astonishing pace. It's been a pleasure to be part of the advisory board and to experience the passion of the instructors and the staff over all these years. With the ever-changing world that we live in, they are challenged to provide our industry with a workforce that we so desperately need, and we really, really desperately need them. They take the advisory board's recommendations and apply them in real time and give their students a solid foundation upon which they can build their expertise. Their willingness to learn and adapt is truly inspiring, and I'm super proud of you guys. I cannot say enough about how proud I am of our instructors and the staff. You really make an impact. This program has given our community an opportunity to learn what great careers the automotive industry has to offer, and I've been blessed to experience it firsthand. Over the last 52 years, our shop has hired over 20 students out of this program. We currently have 3 automotive technology program graduates, and we have another student starting in the fall as an apprentice in September. I'm filled with gratitude for all this automotive program has given to our shop, and I look forward to many more years of working together to better the industry. More importantly, thank you so much for everything you guys have done for the industry. You have just taken on the challenge, and I really appreciate it, and I know everybody else here does too.
Thank you. So now here's where I go off script. So Doug Clapper is going to come up and speak. but I have to acknowledge the rest of our faculty because we have Todd back there, we have Mark Murphy back there, Taryn couldn't be here with us today. All the people that it took to get this place up and running. We were standing over there in the building next door. They said, okay, you have your occupancy permit. We were tagging stuff to bring it into the building. There were movers and stuff. And without this faculty group, it never would have happened. And now they're here teaching our students. So Doug goes by Doug, but it's Kirk Clapper.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming. I don't know, can you hear me? All right, I've been told that I'm loud, but not as loud as Todd. So I just wanted to make sure that I thank everybody for coming to this. It's huge for not only the area around here in our school, but for these students, that they have the support of the area. I certainly want to thank you guys for your donations. Your name on the building, that's awesome. And we look forward to many more years of partnerships with you. The students require it, they need it. As Candy was saying, we're short on technicians out there. And Todd and I and Taryn, our new hire, are very blessed to be part of this. We've got more jobs than students right now. And since the new building came in, we moved in here in fall, we brought 60 new students into the program. So, this is my 20th year here at the college, and watching these students grow, giving them our knowledge, helping them build tool sets, getting them through the program. They all have individual things that they've had to deal with in life, and to be part of that. And you know, some have called me coach, some have called me like a father figure, but in my mind I just want to be their mentor. And once they come in the program, it doesn't stop. We look forward to them coming back and talking to us, telling us where they are, what they're doing. That's the big piece of the puzzle that instructors want and need. So this 13 years ago is when this was first scratched out on a napkin, probably in a bar somewhere, because, you know, alcohol happens. But it really was a dream that was way out there. And then as it got closer, it's like, okay, we're going to break ground. Oh, no. We have a funding issue, or we have this issue, we have COVID. There's a lot of things that came into play, but actually COVID helped us get this building up faster because we didn't have any students on campus for about 9 months. And so that was the complete tear down of the existing area that was spent. So once again, we're very thankful. I've got some people I'd love to thank for helping us with this. I'm not going to go over 2 minutes, I promise. He's the guy that's, you know, out there with the big cane that pulls you off the stage if you take too long. That's why they asked me to do this, not Todd. I love you, man. Let's see. I wanted to thank Pat, the contractor, and Mary Jo for keeping us involved in the entire project. These people worked endlessly to bring us in, ask us where we want plug receptacle, where we want a light, where we want a shelf, what color we want the building, what trim we want on the outside. I mean, it was way over our head, but we sat down and got it done with them, with the help of them. I want to make sure I thank Jill for hiring me in 2003. That was my final interview. I'm very thankful. I've had a great career here teaching. I want to thank Jean, Sayomi, and Rosie, all for your leadership. It's huge to all of us instructors and our students here on the campus. I want to thank Brian. Brian is the dean that's taken on our area I've been through, I think, 7 deans in 20 years. It happens. It's like a rotating door sometimes. But Brian has stepped up and taken on the roles of the deans that are not here anymore. He now has, let's see if I can name all of his programs. He's got automotive, he's got diesel, he's got welding, he's got culinary, he's got winery, he's got landscape and horticulture, home and family life. Yeah, I mean, the man, he just keeps putting on new hats. They barely all fit on his head anymore because they go around. So we really want to thank Brian for everything he's done to help us. We got Bob. Yeah, you can get Brian. Bob, I saw him here somewhere. He's always here helping us fix things. We really appreciate him more than anything around here. We've got a couple of Matts I'd like to thank, the electrician and one that helped us get moved in. Phyllis, Ann, Kathy, Andrea, all for your support in helping us get moved in. And then I want to thank Todd and Taryn for being my teammate. We make a really good team together. None of us want to do it all, but we all don't mind doing more than our share. And that's how success really happens in these businesses around here. So, and thanks again for all that you've done to help us. All right.
Thank you. You guys are troopers.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, now I have to find out where I'm here. So now we have Miss Joanne Edwards. What would this be without hearing from one of our students? So Joanne, Automotive Technology Program graduate, please.
It would have helped if they told me who I was going to be speaking to today. I wasn't sure if I was talking to just faculty, donors, students. So I wrote a lot of stuff, and now I'm not going to do any of it. I've heard a lot about the donors today, and I don't know any of you. I'm grateful for everything you guys have given us to learn from our teachers, because they're the ones that matter to me. Money is important because without it, we wouldn't have the opportunities we have. I came from a life that I had no privilege, and it's my privilege today to be here, to speak to all of you, to have a degree. You gave me that opportunity, and I snatched it, and I ran with it. I work at Toyota of Kirkland. I already hurt myself. It was wonderful. It was not what I expected. I had a lot of mentors who told me it was going to be harder than I thought, and I did not listen to them. And so when I graduated, I hit the floor running, and within a month, I wore my back to the point where I had to go to the doctor. So, that was one of the things I was gonna talk about, was just learning how to learn is something I learned. I was 36 when I started college, and I had a family, 3 kids, husband, and like Mr. Doug said, a lot of life happening. I left behind a life that most people don't know anything about. And this school gave me a life I can be proud of, a different life. I know in my notes I wrote, I was always waiting for someone to rescue me from my life. And this school taught me to save myself. And that is invaluable. I'm a part of my community. I am not a criminal today. About 12 years ago, I couldn't say that. And I didn't know what to do with my life. And I was just a homemaker. I stayed at home. I cared for my children, and I stayed away from Seattle. When I moved back, I decided I wanted to do more. And I came to college here, and they taught me that not everybody wants to hurt you. They taught me that I could trust men in a position of power. and that they had character and morals, and that I could go to them with my personal problems and they would give me instruction that actually guided me and helped me in my life. So if you hear anything from me today, it's that they're the real stars. They take your money and they give me a new life. I'm someone like, there's a million kids out there in these streets like me. So please don't stop supporting these programs, because we deserve those opportunities, and some of us really want them. And I'm so grateful to South for everything that you've done for me, everything you've provided. You don't even know, I had a lot of struggles, housing struggles, legal battles, things when you leave the life behind. I didn't have any family. I'm ostracized from my family, you know, and so they're a very religious family. So I live in Seattle in the city, so my life is a little different than what they want. So thank you for accepting me into your family, because that's what really changed me, being accepted and knowing that I could be more. They gave me that, so thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite up Dr. Jill Wakefield to the mic, who will introduce the honorees. Dr. Wakefield.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, Joanna, you're part of the family and you can't get out. So we want you to know I get to follow you, but what a privilege, because you just exemplified why most of us are here. And we are behind you for your next steps. It doesn't stop with graduation. We care about you and we'll be part of your journey. So thank you for choosing us. And we wish you well. We know you'll do well because your experience here. So, wow. So I'd like to ask if Steve and Sharon could join me up here. If you could come stand up for a minute, please. This is the first, not that Steve would ever do anything that Okay. Well, okay. This won't take too long. These are really important people in my life. So sit down. It's going to take a little bit. So West Seattle is a pretty special community. People care about each other. They support each other. They fight for their communities. We all bonded over the bridge, right, several times, lack of bridge. Families stay in the community and support local businesses, schools, and organizations. South Seattle community, now South Seattle College, flourished and flourishes because it shares this community's values and vision. It's my pleasure to introduce two very special, amazing people who exemplify the best of West Seattle. Leaders who are part of your community, who care about making it better for everyone who lives and works here, who show us that you can do well and do good. Steve Huling's first connection came with South Seattle Community College through Jerry Brocky, and it's hard to have an event today without mentioning Jerry Brocky. This larger than life, this college really exemplifies Jerry Brocky. Hard work. We love our workforce programs. We are connected to the community. There was no question about what our mission was, and that's the kind of person he's still with us today. But they first met at Chief South High School, where Mr. Brocky, and Mr. Brocky is what those of us who are closest to him called him, right? Where he was a coach and a I think vice principal in charge of discipline or something like that. So that's where they first met. Well, the Hulings later came, after he came to South Seattle, the Hulings became connected to South through its automotive program. I need to say, our first this is one of the first programs, and the first graduation was here. in this room, there were 90 people and 15 graduates. That's how much we've grown. You were connected through the Automotive program, where they donated hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment. They sponsored marketing programs. They helped us get our marketing program up, not just the Automotive, but the marketing. Also sponsored scholarships, and like the 13th year, which is really groundbreaking. But they didn't stop there. They served on the Foundation and Citizens Advisory Committee. They encouraged the college to develop our curriculum and to be stronger. And you know, this guy knows how to push. And he pushed us to be better. And I thank you for that. But I didn't always thank you for that. So they encouraged us to develop stronger ties with dealers and employers, and more partnerships, and to create better opportunities for students, the program, and employers. So the Hulings encouraged the college to take risks and to dream big. So in 1987, we took a risk. We started, and Greg Olson was the person who helped us. We said, we're going to have a $100 a plate benefactors dinner at the Olympic Four Seasons. No community college had ever done that. Nobody had charged $100 a plate. And basically they said we would fail. So the success, why we were successful, is we chose the right benefactors. Steve and Tom Huling were our first benefactors. It was so successful, we continued it every year for like 10 or 12 years, raised, again, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and so many friends and funds for the college. Well, next, they helped us raise funds through the annual Huling Brothers Celebrity Golf Tournament. Now, I know some of the men on the first row were involved in that too. Greg, Bob, you know, that was the one time I got out and showed I didn't know how to golf, so I thought I was brave, but it didn't work for golfing, but we raised a lot of money. Wayne Cody and the group, and we had a lot of fun, which, if you haven't really talked about South, we haven't talked about how much fun we like to have. That's the one thing that we haven't talked about. This place likes to have fun. So when this building first got approved by the state in 2008 or 9, I don't know what took so long, we thought, you know, it's the natural thing to do is to recognize our amazing partners, the Hulings, for their support and partnerships over 40 years. They believed in the community, they believed in our businesses, they believed in the college, and most of all, they believed in our students. And they knew that when all these four were inextricably linked, that we would all benefit. So Sharon and Steve, thank you for believing in and investing in this community, this college, this program, our students, and this building. It has made a huge difference, and it's also set the stage for even more innovations, partnerships, and student success in the future. We love you guys, and we are so indebted to both of you. Thank you.
Ladies first. I want to clarify one thing. It's this wonderful husband of mine who really gets and deserves the credit for supporting and working for the college, and everybody so many of you who thanked him. I do support the community. I'm grateful to be in this community, but I really want to say that he deserves the credit. Thank you for including me, Jill. I appreciate it. So I just want to give my thanks to, and would you forgive me if I use an honorific and a first name, Dr. Jill, Dr. Rosie, Dr. Jean, where did she go? There she is, okay. Also to Ty and Hip, Vanessa and Brian. And Will Schlow is here. He's the artist who received the commission for a beautiful artwork in the building. Julia Katz from the Seattle College Foundation. Patrice and Walter from South Seattle College Foundation. And I apologize if I'm forgetting any names or leaving anybody out, but I'll take that risk because this would not have happened without you. I'd like to recognize and thank our daughter, Jamie Huling DeLay, and our son, Grant Huling, for coming today. They flew in, drove up from Portland and San Francisco. I'd like to thank our friends who are here today. You're loved and appreciated. And I'd like to recognize and thank former Huling Brothers employees. You'll always be part of our family. Thank you for coming. And two words came to my mind for today. And you've spoken of community and gratitude, and truly you have taken the word community, changed its meaning from a noun to a verb. And Joanna, I want you to know that I understand how hard it is to go to school without family support. I also, as a young woman, didn't have my family's support, and we can talk a little bit later, and I'm so proud of you for completing, and there's nothing like a mom with kids who excels at school because they have to balance. And the men do too, but I'm just speaking of moms. So many moms are back in community colleges, and I just read some of the applications for scholarships. I had that honor to do that, and it reminded me of how important colleges are and how many of the students are coming back later in life and dedicated to improving their life. So thank you for letting me be part of this community. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, they've dedicated 15 minutes to me, but I don't think it's going to take that long. I think everything that's to be said has been said. What's that?
I see a glass of wine.
I would like to, again, acknowledge the people in this room that got me involved in this, Jill. I remember the day. Gary Ortley, I don't think, is in the crowd here, but he went on to become president, and coincidentally, he was a year behind me itself. So I have that connection. Speaking of Jerry Brocky, he was a coach at South when I was there, and then went on to later, we were in Rotary together when we grew up, and he was really the one that got me introduced to what's going on at the school here. And the automotive program that was here before is not the same program that it is today, and it's because of the efforts of the staff and the people that helped and put this building together. I wanted to thank, I've got a couple of friends here that we used to work together. I'd like to acknowledge. The only one that doesn't have gray hair is Chris. I don't know what happened, but the rest of them, he's younger. But yeah, Frank and Todd and Rick and Chris and Gary Hunter is over here on this side. I hope I didn't miss anybody. But we all kind of grew up in certain parts of the dealerships together, and they all contributed. Oh, I forgot the latecomer back there. Who would that be? Howard. Anyway, Conquest. So yeah, we've only probably been knowing each other for 45 years. But you know, this is a great opportunity for an industry that's just starting to reinvent itself with electric cars. And I say that not because whether you believe in that or not, that's what's happening. So get used to it, because by the year 2030, it's predicted that there are going to be 40 to 50% of the cars on the road being sold that are going to be electric. So the General Motors is an example, 2035, no more combustion engines. So the future is here now. Lucid, where's the lights? Come on, let's. Where's Summer? The lights are on over there. There we go. But it's been it's been a real privilege to have been part of this school, and one of the most uplifting things that I've experienced personally is their appreciation, which is that community involvement and the personal aspect of being part of what's going on this campus. I mean, seriously. It is truly a family, and I would hope that when things get settled down a little bit more and the staff and everybody gets, because there's been a lot of change since the pandemic, am I right there, Brian? Yeah. So, but this is a great opportunity for learning and in an industry that's continuing to evolve, and I just can't thank you enough. And Jill, you did a great job. Thank you. I appreciate all the, and my children are my biggest pride and joy that are here today to be part of this grand opening. So anyway, I don't have anything else. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. 15 minutes isn't up, but I am. So thank you so much for coming. And there are going to be tours. You have to to really get involved in what this building can facilitate and what its future represents, requires you to take a tour of what is here, because this is just one little part of it. This is a 49,000 square foot facility, and the future.
We've walked every inch of it. How many times?
Well, I know where every restroom is, I can tell you that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Steve, Sharon, for the kind words. Dr. Hernandez, did you want to come back up? And then I can pull the tape out of the machine and we can all get on with the celebration. How about that?
You lower that for me?
I can, absolutely. Would be honored to.
I'm known to break things like this. I have to be very careful. Well, we want to formally recognize both of you, and so we reached out to some of our government officials, for lack of a better word. And first of all, from the office of Governor Jay Inslee, dear Steve and Sharon, on behalf of the state of Washington, I want to take this opportunity to thank both of you for your incredible support of South Seattle College and the South Seattle College students over the past 3 decades. Your donations and advocacy for the education and training offered at the college have made a lasting impact on the future of many people in the community. You've also been a tireless supporter of the South Seattle College Automotive Technology Program, ensured that they stayed up to date with industry standards, including electric cars, that's my ad, and supported the program and its students in every turn. As an early supporter of the 13th year Promise Scholarship at South Seattle College, you helped build the foundation of today's Seattle Promise scholarship program that opens doors to higher education for all graduating seniors from Seattle's high schools and able to attend the Seattle colleges. It is only fitting that the South Seattle College and Greater Washington community celebrate your contributions with this grand opening of the new Steve and Sharon Huling Automotive Technology Center on May 23rd, 2023. Thank you again for your belief in our community and technical college system, your generosity to move that system forward and make a difference in students' lives. Very truly yours, Jay Inslee, Governor of the State of Washington. So. Nice. And now I have a proclamation to read from the city of Seattle. We can work miracles sometimes when you least expect it. Whereas Steve and Sharon Huling have provided incredible support to South Seattle College students in the Automotive Technology Program. And whereas Steve and Sharon Huling were early adopters and supporters of the 13th year Promise Scholarship at South Seattle College and helped build the foundation for today's Seattle Promise program, opening doors to higher education for all graduating seniors from Seattle's high schools. And whereas Steve and Sharon Huling have been active industry partners and tireless supporters of the South Seattle College Automotive Technology Program, helping the program stay up to date with industry standards. Whereas Steve and Sharon Huling's philanthropic and advocacy for the education and training offered at the college have played a significant role in ensuring a strong pathway for students to become well-trained professionals ready to join their industry and excel in their careers. And whereas South Seattle College will celebrate the grand opening of the new Steve and Sharon Huling Automotive Technology Center on May 23rd, 2023, and whereas the City of Seattle deeply appreciates Steve and Sharon Huling's dedication and commitment to fostering not only the automotive technology industry, but our greater Seattle community. These efforts exemplify the values of our One Seattle vision that we will cherish for years to come. Now, therefore, I, Bruce A. Harrell, Mayor of Seattle, do hereby proclaim May 23rd, 2023 to be Steve and Sharon Huling Day. You might want to think about this. I'm teasing. You know, we wanted to have an image of the the new Huling Automotive Technology Center on the plaque, but that would have required a 5-foot by 7-foot plaque for it to really look good. So we instead went with the South Seattle logo. So I hope that's okay, you know. You agree, right? Yeah, I can't go wrong. So let me just read this for everyone. In grateful appreciation of Steve and Sharon Huling for your steadfast dedication and generosity to the South Seattle College and the Automotive Technology Program, your support, I like that, your support will positively impact the lives of our students for decades to come, as we heard from Joanna, and I know there's a lot of other students in the audience who also know the impact of this program. But the students are really what it's about, right? So, saying on here, the grand opening of the Steve and Sharon Huling Automotive Technology Center at South Seattle, and then today's date of May 23rd. And then finally, we do have 2 bottles of wine that I hope you will share from our students' Northwest Winery Academy program. So